we're going to miss you too.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the June 10th regular City of Griffin Board of Commissioners meeting. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Ward and the invocation by Commissioner Holman.
Please face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in prayer. If we could pause a moment to reflect on Officer Jordan, please. Father, we are here today to ask for your blessings and guidance in performance of our duties as elected officials. We pray for strength, love, knowledge, and understanding. Help us to recognize and solve the problems that are presented. Make our solutions fair and just to the best interest of everyone. Help us to overcome our shortcomings and keep us united as a team as we work for the betterment of the city and its people. We pray in your name. Amen.
Okay, next we have approval of agenda, which is a little bit new for us.
Chair.
Order.
I move we approve the agenda with the following changes.
Okay.
Number 8 has been revised and now reads, consider for approval to purchase with asset forfeiture funds 2 new vehicles for $55,691 and from Speedway Ford, and a Chevy Tahoe for $29,017 from Hardy Chevrolet to be assigned to Criminal Investigation and Special Investigative Unit, respectively. Declare units 274 and 1204 as surplus for sale on govdeals.com and amend the budget accordingly. And add number 13 as thus. Consider for approval to purchase and used enclosed pressurized cap for $16,332.50 from Yancey Brothers Company, sole source provider, and amend the budget accordingly for $20,000. The difference, $3,667.50, is an allowance to cover unanticipated costs that may occur during installation. And last but not least, add number 14, consider approval to transfer $375,000 from the capacity recovery fees cash account to water or wastewater operating cash account for the purpose to pay construction costs incurred with the 1888 Mill Sewer Improvement Expansion Project in advance of receiving Georgia Department of Community Affairs Employment Incentive Program grant of $500,000 and amend the budget accordingly.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the amended agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. All right, on to presentations and delegations. We will recognize Gary Slayton, mechanic with a motor pool, as the May 2014 Strongest Link Award recipient.
Good evening, Commissioners. Again, thank you for the opportunity to come up here. I thank my peers for voting for him. I tell you, I'd like to introduce Gary Slayton. Come on up, Gary. Gary's a mechanic 3 with us. He started off several years ago with us as basically starting the tire shop. I can't say enough positive things about the initiative that Gary has taken. He's proven himself to be a leader. We call on him a lot when Stevie, the fleet manager's out or whatever. He's there. He does road calls at night. He's taken it upon himself to get certified in air brakes, 1st and 2nd series. Electrical, drivability, diagnostics, and all this is done on his own. That we offer the training sometimes through our vendors and what have you, but it's always after hours. We can't do it during the time, and he's the first one to sign up. He's taken the initiative to better himself and to prove that you can do if you put your mind to it. I'm proud to call him my friend, as well as I'm expecting a lot from Gary. I ask a lot from Gary. The city asks a lot from him, but he's never really said anything mean to me or cussed me. He's always there with a smile. I'm honored and I say this every time, I'm honored that he allows me to work with him, and I really, really appreciate what you've done. And a lot of times what the guys behind the scenes kind of do, guys and girls behind the scenes don't get recognized enough. And with the around 600 pieces of equipment that we have to keep up, from chainsaws to bulldozers, it's an exceptionally diverse type of equipment. It's not taking it over to the local Ford or Chevy or Dodge dealer and have the folks just work on it. You've got to be able to change gears and be multitask. And Gary has really stepped up to that. He exemplifies what I would consider one of the strongest link, and I'm glad that he was that my peers elected him to that. But I think I'll just talk a while. I like to do that. I'm kidding. He's really done a great job, and thank you again. And I appreciate it. Here's your phone, and you get some food.
Jewelry. Gotta wear that all month.
I'd like to thank all the commissioners. I'd like to thank my director for having faith in me. This has been a long road for me. Who say you can't change a person? And the person I used to be, you do not want to know. But you got to look at a person that has really changed and did outstanding things for the city. And I thank everybody for giving me the opportunity to be a part of the city and to grow in the city. So I thank the commission, I thank my director, my fleet manager's not here. I thank him for giving me the opportunity. He even put me up to get the Mechanic 3 job. He's seen what I can do. And it's a few of the commissioners already know I growed up on the cars. So it's no sweat off my back and getting greasy every day. I come in greasing, I leave greasing. So I just like to thank y'all for, recognizing me as the strongest link this month, and I'm going to keep on doing what I can do for the city to improve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I didn't know you did that work.
You should write your speeches, Phil.
So can you stop me? Today, right? Yeah. You got it? Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Slayton.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll present results of the 2014 Sloth survey. Alva will come forward.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Okay, and several months ago, as you're probably aware by now, the county had approached us about participating in a SPLOST survey to get feedback from the community in terms of what projects they'd be interested in seeing on this fall's SPLOST. So I worked with the County Commissioner, William Wilson, as well as Kathy at the county to really try and help build this. And we launched the survey at the end of April, so it was from approximately April 15th until the end of May, beginning of June. We had a few responses come in late, so this is the aggregate of all those. And let me say that this presentation is just the city portion of that. So for example, it doesn't include the Parks and Recs projects. This is also focused on those city respondents. So it doesn't talk about what someone in Orchard Hill said about debt. It focuses only on those city residents. And when we built the survey, it was really built around a framework of 3 types of questions. One, just getting general information from the respondent. Secondly, identifying those top priorities in terms of what they want to see in the community. And thirdly, asking questions about specific projects submitted both by the city and the county. Including that general information that was a request for email address for our mail blast that we do. In addition, whether or not they'd like to receive those emails from us at that address. And finally, just to identify those respondents where they live. And from that, we got a total of 444 responses, and there's an asterisk by that because we only really counted 443. One person just put their email address, name, then turned it in. They didn't really complete the survey. So out of that, we're looking really at 443 total responses, 217, and again, it's actually 216 because that one was from the city of Griffin. 216 of those are reviewed tonight because those are the city responses. Of that, a majority came from online. One of the things to note about those responses we've received is obviously that 216 isn't as many responses as we'd like to see in a population of 23,000. So that obviously will affect the responses that you receive in terms of accuracy, not to mention that there's a bias that comes when you do surveys like this. The people that are interested in the content, they're the ones that are going to fill out the survey. So you're not going to necessarily get responses from across the city, so it won't be perfectly representative. And with that, going through the survey, one of the first questions we asked was that this SPLOST should primarily focus on either paying off debt, emergency services, library services, parks and rec, tearing down, as we know, substandard abatement, and transportation request. And the respondents were to select one of those options. And of that, for the number one priority, it was really a mixed bag. As I said, because the small sample size, we ended up having a larger margin of error than desired. So we're talking about approximately 8%, almost 9% margin of error within that. So in terms of what that number one priority is, it goes back and forth between emergency services request, parks and rec, paying down debt, as well as, well, just those three, forgive me. For the city, obviously, the most pertinent two are the debt as well as emergency services in terms of what they're looking for in the 2014 SPLOST. The next question was, we did this 3 times. So first was what was the primary focus. Now we went to secondary focus. We didn't change any of those options. In terms of secondary focus, they said that, again, emergency services was number one, but within that margin of error, you obviously also have substandard abatement. So people were just excited to get rid of old houses as their second priority. And again, with that, paying debt was a close third. Then we did what is the third priority within that. It came down to, there was very mixed in terms of emergency services, parks and rec, debt, and tearing down old houses, as well as transportation request. So really across the board there, they're looking at anything and everything in terms of what they'd like to see, whether that be emergency services, debt, substandard abatement, transportation, any of those projects, it seems like are fine in terms of preferences for the SPLOST. And that's just the aggregate where you can see that across the board, there were more, the priorities were clear somewhat with priority 1, but as you went down, it just mixed, it settled among those ones that were popular to begin with, being emergency services, parks and rec, and debt.
So what I'm hearing is anything but library services.
Well, and I'll say that, yes, but in addition, on the survey, they were particularly asking about building a new library. So people clearly weren't interested in that side. The following question was addressing local debt because we wanted to specifically ask, are you fine with us using the SPLOST to pay down local debt? And that was 2-to-1 yes, they were fine with that. But one note, and the note on bottom pertains to actually the following several slides, that because we had those lower than estimated numbers, one of the issues that we also ran into was the fact that the way the survey was built, this section said either select this or this. So you had to pick one, yes or no. And with that, there were several people who were just opposed to SPLOST entirely. So, and it was evident on the written copies that I received because they just said, I'm not going to vote for SPLOST. So with those responses that we received that were just clearly no to SPLOST entirely, they were marked as a no on the following responses, which means that those no answers you see here might be slightly inflated. So with a question like this, where it's clearly a yes, that doesn't have an impact on the final result. Where people are clearly fine paying down some of the debt with that. But on the following slide, it becomes a little bit grayer because you see, particularly with upgrading the cab that the county wanted on there it's slightly towards yes, but because the no's are weighed too much in this survey, that's really 50-50. It's a coin toss whether or not people would be fine with that. it's a coin toss, forgive me, yes. But following question was addressing those emergency service projects, and building fire stations was at 32%, approximately 33%. Installing the siren, which was an emergency weather system, was at 67%. Then the CADs, like I said, for the county was at 46, a little bit higher than that really, because it's 50-50. Then going down transportation projects, the question was, which transportation projects do you support? And the number one option there was really, they just want roads resurfaced. That's what the priority is, at least with those residents who responded, followed by paving those dirt roads, then widening Experiment Street. But, paving dirt roads, then sidewalks. And let me note that there's an asterisk beside replace airport equipment, because that option was included on the web survey, but it wasn't on the printed copy. But as you saw on the initial slide, a majority of the responses came from the web survey, so you're actually getting a large proportion of those. So in conclusion, a couple of notes to take away is the fact that we have a smaller than desired sample size with this survey, so you don't really want to look at the details. You want to take a general sense of what those priorities are. And that's why we specified when we created the survey to have two different sections. One focused on those overall big picture priorities, what are you looking for, versus those details, because in addition to the survey, we also handed out, I believe it was about an 8-page project guide that detailed, these are the projects that we're looking at here that explain those specific projects included in the survey. We can't say whether or not somebody actually went through all those. So there's no way to say, quote unquote, how informed those specific projects are, because when we say that we're looking at widening Experiment Street, that doesn't necessarily mean they saw the cost estimates. They don't know, that doesn't mean they've seen the details of that project. So let me reiterate that this is really good for that general sense and really in understanding those priorities of 1, 2, and 3, what people are really interested in. Really being mixed amongst those emergency services, paying debt, substandard abatement for us, and across the board really for the city. So any combination that we have, it seems, is in line with those priorities. And that's all I had, unless there are any questions.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Results, thanks.
Did a good job, Alan.
Thank you.
Just interpreting. That's always the toughest part of it.
All right. We will move on to the next item, update City Commission on the approved design of downtown street configuration for downtown LCI. Dr. Kelly will address. Evening.
See it in front of you. You've got, I guess, about 18 and a half months worth of finally getting to the final rendition. Kenny and I had some boxing matches back and forth with different players in the game, and at the end of the day, this is the final configuration on the LCI. If you go to the center of the page where the median is, if you'll go to the right or the left, there's 11-foot travel lane. Well, it's actually 12 feet, excuse me, and then you're at the bottom of the page. Then there's a bike lane. DOT and the ARC have basically given us the guidance for a 3-foot buffer that will be green in nature. Then you'll have your 60-degree angle parking in the sidewalk, and that's what they'll accept.
One's 60 and one's 45. What is that?
Depends on which side of the street that you're on. We're hoping to get 60 on both sides right now. You've got 90 in some places, 60 in another, and 45. We're hoping to get 60 because that'll give you the most amount of parking spaces. And I see that on the bottom side and the other side, and I guess that might be a typo from the engineer. But it's 60-degree angle parking.
Good job, Ted.
Well, this has been blessed from above. This is what we're going to do.
Well, they kind of told us what we were going to do. Kenny and I had some long conversations and conference calls, and in order to get the money from the Federal Highway Administration, which is administered through FHWA and the Atlanta Regional Commission, that's what you're going to get. And as soon as you all are happy, tomorrow morning I'll be calling, we will want to go to the GDOT
and start the final design concept and get it in the hopper so that we can start construction of this next year in the third quarter in 2015. That's when the funding cycle's funded for. All right.
Any comments for Dr. Kelly?
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.
I still think we're going to kill somebody in that bike lane.
Hey, I'm not going on record saying anything. This is not my choice.
I agree, it'd be much safer next to median, but...
Mr. Smith and I agreed on that too, but I guess we got outvoted.
Hey.
No, thank you.
Can you bribe the contractor not to put it in?
Right to Congressman.
Do anything necessary, and that's the motto.
All right, we'll review the financials for April 2014.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. First up will be the cash balance. Simple one-page document. Any questions on that one? Very simple, okay. Next item, the local option sales tax report. And we're on track for the year. 79 or 80% for the local option sales tax and 95% for Sloth.
It's good growth.
Do we want to talk about the annual report, the Sloth numbers, the projects, the status? That's as of April. I included it again this month just in case there wanted to be additional discussion. No?
Appreciate that. That was a good one.
Thank you. Revenue detail will be next. Are there any questions regarding the distribution of the revenues, utilities, general fund?
You guys are getting too good at budgeting because it's certainly not interesting and exciting anymore. It tracks.
100% on property tax looks good.
Yeah.
Motor vehicle's still strong.
Well, we hope that will continue for the next year, and then after that, it more than likely will taper off because of the proposed changes coming down. Any questions on the interfund statements then? Excuse me, interim statements by fund.
Anybody have any questions about the financials in general? Are y'all okay with it? I think we're okay with it, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Good job, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to citizen comments. At this time, chairperson opens the floor to comments from the audience. Comments should relate to a specific agenda item not listed on the agenda for a public hearing or to a concern within the jurisdiction of the city. Commission meetings serve the purpose of conducting city business and are not a forum for the unlimited expression of opinion. The chairperson reserves the right to limit comments to matters germane to the city business and may refer speakers to city manager or other staff for resolution. Anyone on my right side would like to come forward and speak to the commission? All right, hearing none, we'll move forward to public hearings. We'll receive comments regarding the proposed budgets for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2014 and ending June 30th, 2015. It's a public hearing. Does anyone have any comments they would like to make about the budget? Okay. Moving along, consent agenda. Item number 6, consider approval of minutes of the workshop on May 27, 2014, minutes of regular scheduled meeting on May 27, 2014.
Mr. Chairman, I found them to be in order unless somebody has a correction or additions. I move we approve both sets of minutes as presented.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any comments? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Moving into the regular agenda, item number 7, consider approval of a resolution adopting the annual fiscal year 2014-2015 operating budget, appropriating expenditures and projected revenues for specified purposes, functions, and activities by the fund for the budget period and the capital improvement program.
I move we approve.
And I proudly second that. I think it's an excellent budget.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any questions for Marcus or Kenny? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Item number 8, consider for approval to purchase with asset forfeiture funds 2 new vehicles for $55,691. A Ford F-150, $26,674 from Speedway Ford. And Chevy Tahoe, $29,017 from Hardy Chevrolet, to be assigned to Criminal Investigation and Special Investigative Unit, respectively, and declare units 274 and 1204 as surplus for sale on govdeals.com and amend the budget accordingly.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments?
I thought it was 3 vehicles total? That was the one we revised. You said 2 vehicles.
The revision, I say, has 2 vehicles. Is that correct?
Oh, okay, yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. Any questions?
That's what I read.
I like that they're coming from the asset forfeiture fund. I like that.
All right, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Item number 9, consider a professional services agreement with Burns and McDowell Engineering Company for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. Dr. Keller will address.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agreement.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions for Dr. Keller? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Item number 10, consider continuation of warranty services agreement with Utility Service Partners, Inc. for providing to the general public a warranty program for water service lines and wastewater collection lines to citizens.
I see that the staff recommends approval.
I recommend approval to get it to y'all.
Continuation of the warranty.
No, at the end of the, Ryan had asked, the mayor had asked to bring it back up, and the chairman's got it, and we will do however directed on your vote.
Well, I guess what I'll do is I move that we approve continuation, and we'll vote it up or down. How's that?
I will second
I have
that.
a motion and a second. All right, any discussion?
Well, I think that with I had asked Dr. Keller about the people that have paid into it. We would have to explain to them why we're discontinuing it, and I think that the ones who have had services from it have been very pleased. So, I've not heard any negatives other than the fact that you have to explain what it is, and that is our job.
If there wasn't a way that they used us as the they were using us as their marketing tool.
That's the
way
program.
they use it, if they would just send out a letter saying, this is what it is, instead of making it look like we as a board or
either good or bad, we've had that problem where they stole our logo before, where we didn't endorse it several years back, and we had answered those questions to those folks, and that was part of this particular program, was the endorsement. And
well, I'm going to go on record for any other business that comes down here that this one commissioner is not going to allow anybody to use the taxpayers' logo to market their business as if the city is promoting it. If the NLC wants to do that, then allow them to do it. But I just don't think that is I don't think that's proper. And I spoke with some attorneys about that, and it makes me real nervous that anybody would even try something like that, and we as a board will go along with it. But me, for one, I can't support that. I think that they may be doing a good job, and I'm not against the program, but we cannot allow anyone to come into the city, use us as the marketer, and using Ryan's name as if he's sending it out. I think that's, I don't even know if I know it's unethical, but it may just be flat out illegal. So I can't go along with that. And I want to make sure that I'm on record saying. You do understand that you're on record, sure.
Drew, speak up, because I'd like for you to explain, because you are the one who said that this was a good thing.
We looked and we investigated it, and initially I had reservations about it, but after meeting and talking with the folks from National League of Cities and looking at the materials that they provided us, it's a program that's been in effect now for several years and operates all around the country. There is as I said, a little revenue sharing involved. The city does get I think a small payment back each year from the program as a return because of your participation in NLC.
Well, let me make sure I'm getting this right, because I won't be supporting it. So if a plumber comes down here and he wants to use Ryan's name or Mr. Morrow's name or anyone on the board's name or Kenny Smith's name and promote his business, that if he gives a promise to give the city some money, that it's okay for him to do that.
Well, now, the letter that was signed by the chairperson. It's not just somebody using their name without their knowledge or permission. And
Because
I assume,
the board
Ryan,
voted
you
for us
probably
to
saw
do
the letter
that.
and signed it.
But
It's the responsibility of the chair to sign because we voted that way
as
as a
long
board.
as I'm not responsible for any of that, I'm fine with, y'all can do whatever. Good with me?
No, I mean, that's ultimately the situation gets placed in, because as the board voted that way, then it becomes the responsibility for me to sign the document, but I agree, I mean.
But we've done it previous to you, Ryan, and
Well, we have.
they had no problem.
But at a very baseline, it's an endorsement by the city, and it's a slippery slope of how many people do you want to start endorsing, where do you start that, where do you end it?
So, I mean, are we saying as a board, it's okay for other people to do it? Is that what we're saying? If someone else wants to come down
I think
and endorse, we allow them to endorse, let the city endorse their business?
a city-affiliated organization.
Oh, okay.
That's why I think the board decided to do it at that time. You've done similar things in the past with Georgia Municipal Association.
And it's part of the National League of Cities national program, so I understand the reluctance here, and I understand Ryan his signature, but overall, I think it provides a service and they're reputable, and it's part of the National League of Cities program, and on balance, I think it's better than it is not.
Yeah. But I don't think there's anything that says they have to stop providing that service. We know they're reputable, they can come in here if they want to get a testimonial or something like that, so they've done business, done a good business, that's fine, but it's one thing to have a testimonial, it's another thing for you to be the one that's effectively sending out the letter to promote their
Two
business.
letters.
So
They followed up with a second
they
letter.
did, a second letter.
Well,
So,
one is sewer and one is water.
I mean, there is nothing to stop it. There's no explaining to people about why you stop, because there's nothing that has to stop. They don't have to stop having their business and their service here. I think they just need to stop having us be the one with the letterhead and the signature selling their business for them. And whether it's National League Cities or not, it's still a company that's partnering with National League Cities. So
Let National League of Cities put their name to it. Let them send it out and take City of Griffin names off of it.
I think their name is.
There, it is on
They
there.
need to put the
Then
letter.
they need to use their letterhead
Cities.
and use the mayor of the National League of Cities.
I do want to make sure that you understand that if you vote to stop this program, that the automatic renewal is until February of 2015, and you've got to give 90 days notice. So you won't be stopping it immediately.
it stops after 90 days.
No,
Or-
sir. We'll have to give them 90 days notice before February 2015.
In October, I'll send them a letter saying it's over.
So it'll, in essence, be in effect until February 2015.
And this will be my last
That's
comment,
right.
last time making this comment.
I
I think we may be missing the point. I don't think anybody's got a problem with the program itself, but we open a can of worms when we allow people to use the city's logo to market and promote their business. I just don't think, if you're gonna allow them to do it,
State Farm do it?
you let State Farm, United Bank, Wayland Law Firm, I mean, you can go on forever. And what are you gonna tell those people? Well, these people are paying us, they're giving us money to do it, so they're gonna give us some money back. So now we selling the city logo, we selling the letterhead, the mayor's signature, and you get money for it. So
I will say for the record, it wasn't the money, it was the service to the customer, that they had an option that we couldn't provide. Cedartown tried to do this on their own as a government, and
I appreciate you explaining that to me, but it has nothing to do with this letter. The program is fine. If it's helping people, that's good. But when you start allowing people to use the city's logo, that's a problem. And if y'all don't see that as a problem, then so be it. But I can't support that. I support the program.
Okay.
But we can't use it to market the city. I can't. Y'all can.
All right, were there any other comments?
Let's vote on it.
I'll call for the vote when I'm ready to call for the vote. Anybody else want to
No, I don't have anything else.
make any comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the continuation of the warranty service agreement with Utility Service Partners, raise your hand. Okay, 4. All those against? 3. 4-3.
Thank y'all.
You have guidance still till next time it comes up.
All right, item number 11, consider approval of annual mass water meter purchase with Delta Municipal Supply Company for the Water and Wastewater Department of the Public Works and Utilities Department. Dr. Kelly will address.
I move we approve this purchase. I do have a question.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second.
Somehow I got it in my head last year that we'd really bought all the water meters we're gonna need for this.
You're gonna,
Says we did.
we're in the process, every year you will see this mass meter purchase, because after 10 years, you start the cycle over. Right now, what we're doing is we finished the city with 450s, which is telemetry read, and we're in the county putting in R900Is for the radio read. And you'll see this.
These are primarily those going to the county.
Yeah, well, there'll be some supplemental ones for the city, not a whole lot, but the city's done, and we're finishing the county by 2017.
Does the water authority get that
Yes.
charged into their?
Correct. Well, yeah, it goes into the rate formula.
Was this bid out?
Ma'am?
Was this?
They're the sole source for Neptune meters in the state of Georgia.
The city's gotta do business with the sole source. How about that?
But we pretty much buy meters every year.
We buy meters every year.
I don't have a problem with it.
It's part of the asset management. You start losing revenue after 10 years, and so you'll see this before you every year.
Yeah, but this was a lot more than 1/10 of the meters we have. That's what got my attention.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because theoretically, we're buying 1/10 every year, but, so there's a
This
lot in
is
there for the
correct.
county system.
Yeah, it'll shrink a little bit, after 2017, once we get the county taken care of.
All right, so this will be for the county now. Do they absorb some of the cost?
They get this cost every year, ours and theirs. It's
Okay.
part of the integral part of the system.
Okay, good. I move with approve. We haven't already approved it.
You had a motion. You made a motion.
Oh, I did.
Second, need a second.
I'm sorry.
Okay, any other questions for Dr. Kelly? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Item number 12, consider a lease agreement between the City of Griffin and True Check for a 12-month lease of 293 square feet referred to as Suite 114 in One Griffin Center in the amount of $6,837 per year.
I move we approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Any comment? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. All right, item number 13. Consider approval to purchase an enclosed pressurized cap for $16,332.50 from Yancey Brothers Company, sole source provider, and amend the budget accordingly for $20,000. $3,667.50 is an allowance to cover unanticipated costs that may occur during installation. And this was basically for safety of demolition, correct?
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second, any comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand. Unanimous. Item number 14, consider approval to transfer $375,000 from capacity recovery fees cash account to water wastewater operating cash account for the purpose of paying construction costs incurred with the 1888 Mills Sewer Improvements Expansion Project in advance of receiving the Georgia Department of Community Affairs Employment Incentive Program grant of $500,000 and amend the budget accordingly. Have a motion.
I move we approve.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
I got a question, just being technical here. It says to transfer it over. Is it not a loan to come back to capacity recovery fee?
I
Or
assumed
is
it
it a
would
permanent
be.
transfer?
Yeah, once the grant's been awarded, that money will come back to us, but we'll have that project done before that grant gets approved. Because 1888 gate's got to come online before September 15th.
I understand that, but technically, it's the lending 375 from the fund to this, but it come back.
Was this one of our incentives?
Yeah,
That we would pay for?
once we get the money back from GFA, that money will go back into the capital cost recovery fee.
Okay, so.
And reimbursed. All right, any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please raise your hand.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Okay, city manager's report.
First on my list was to remind you that this is the only meeting in June, but right before the meeting, Mr. Wilson called me and asked me if we would be open to a joint Sloth meeting on June 26th. That's a Thursday evening, to discuss the proposed Sloth for this fall, so y'all can check your calendars for that. That's the Thursday after we get back from GMA.
And that's to do what? To be a voting meeting?
They're required to have a meeting of all the municipalities, so I assume they're inviting Orchard Hill and Sunnyside as well.
Okay.
To call for a SPLOST and to discuss proposed projects for that SPLOST.
Can we meet prior to that meeting, like at 6 o'clock, for us to discuss what, kind of an order of what we'd like to see on our end?
I think we need to have a definite
Let's talk about what,
input.
from what Alvin gave us and from what we see as priorities.
Meetings at 7, you're saying?
I think he would prefer it at 7. I'm not sure that he
I'll have
was...
it 6 o'clock.
He hadn't
Board
nailed...
conflict, so.
I can't be there.
I can't be here.
I'm gonna be at work, so no to both for me.
For both, okay.
Okay, that's 3 no-goes.
Well, would y'all's just for a pre-meeting?
Yeah.
Y'all are okay, Rodney, are you okay with
I
that?
won't be there at all.
I can make
No county meeting.
It's 7 o'clock or shortly thereafter.
How about the rest of you guys? That day,
As far as
the
I
7
know,
o'clock?
I will be back, and I should be able to be there. I don't have conflicts, I don't believe. I didn't bring my calendar.
We'll just go with that for now, and then we can talk about if we need to look at having a prior discussion on a day before. It may not be that same day, but we could look at a day before that might be
Or
more.
we could do it by email.
I mean, well, we want to have a open
You
meeting if we're
For
gonna.
us.
You always have the ability to have a quick meeting in Savannah at GMA. We've done that before. If it's a day that everybody's gonna be there, we just have to provide notice. But we've met while being in Savannah before.
Let me just say up front that the paying off the debt, repaving roads, demolition of houses,
Old City Hall building.
and the fire station, the 4 general OKs.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it
I'm good with all those.
pretty much already. We just haven't nailed down numbers, and we've got a general idea on numbers, and basically it's the same plan we've had all along.
Those 4 areas, I'm comfortable with that here, all of them.
Well,
We
we'll
had
just-
some round numbers on all of those projects. Of course, we really didn't know until the county made a presentation what percentage of the proceeds we were gonna get. So until they tell us how it'll be divided up, we really can't nail down those projects any more closely, because we don't know how much money the total's gonna be, so.
So we have to meet just to satisfy the state law, not to do anything useful, is that it?
Well, they have to invite you to a meeting to satisfy the state law before they call for the election.
Okay.
I mean, if you're pretty good with the projects that we've initially put out until we hear from them, and then maybe we regroup after that meeting to
Okay. Well, we'll
more
just go ahead
closely
and
identify.
shoot for that time then, and I think 5 out of 7 of us said we'll probably be okay.
We can meet after the meeting if we needed to.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can figure
All
out a
right,
discussion.
June Jam, big success. I think it was probably one of the biggest we've had this weekend. Everybody enjoyed it, behaved. I think a good time was had by all, as was the airport meeting last night, and I'm sure the Airport Authority Chairman will elaborate on that a little bit. I do want you to put on your calendar for June the 17th, the Downtown Development Authority is having a meeting here at City Hall, and right after their meeting, they have a consultant with a hotel conference center firm that's coming in to talk to us about how to potentially prepare ourselves for a hotel conference center that we think is urgently needed here.
What time are they doing?
9 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday the 17th. DBA meets at 8, and that presentation will be here at 9 o'clock. Also, it gives me great pleasure to advise you that 405 North Hill Street will be demoed in the morning at 8:30.
What will?
In the morning.
405
At what
North
time?
Hill Street at 8:30 in the morning.
Which one is that?
Don't get too close because I plan to be in the Bobcat.
Really?
Oh, really?
Track hoe,
Which one is that?
The one
sledgehammer.
across in front of Newton Galloway.
Is it
Oh, that old thing?
That's a substandard property that we've been working on, I think
For years.
it's either 14 or 16 years.
I think
but it's
Strickland
vacant?
should be in the Bobcat.
And it's coming down in the morning.
We
at
all get
8:30.
that track with you.
Yeah, that's good.
Gosh.
Also, pay close attention to a media release over the next few days. Our City of Griffin mobile app is ready.
Slow down.
And in fact, you can download it now. It's still in its testing phase, but hopefully in the next couple of days we'll be putting out a release to the public. All you have to do is go to the App Store and search City of Griffin and download that free app, where you'll be able to put in potholes, trash on the side of everybody but Mr. Holberg can put in issues.
Just record
They will
loud
go-
mouth at the stadium.
They will go through our work order system, be funneled into each responsible
You're not
department
picking
who
up
will
your
get
trash?
information from that app and address.
I drive around and take pictures of things.
So you can take a picture and download it through the app, and it will go into our work order system.
All right.
The neat part about that app is our IT guys made it, put it together, got it approved by the Apple Store. Didn't cost us anything except their time and energy
Yes,
and wit
your
and
Apple
labor.
ID.
So we're real proud of them, and it's been a process to get approved through the App Store, but it is approved, and we'll be releasing that
Eat
information.
our dust.
That's right.
Yeah.
You got to wish Dr.
Absolutely.
Keller happy birthday.
Dr. Keller, happy birthday, 49 today, and Judy's back. Sometimes I think we kind of, I don't know that we take it lightly, but our link in the chains is really important to our employees to recognize them. And you know, we've been through a lot over the last week, but we can't forget about all 460 people that are out there every day supplying what needs to be done for the citizens. And just riding through town yesterday and seeing not only the police officers but all the employees that were lined up on the street, it was a testament to every employee of the city.
Amen to that.
Drew, that's a hard act to follow, so I have no comment.
Okay. Commissioner McCoy?
But I do want to, in the midst of it all, I want to say how proud I am of my city for standing and being a strong link for the Jordan family. I thought that was very special. The police department, public works, even Southern Crescent, everybody pitched in, all the employees, and I had an opportunity to speak with members of Mr. Jordan's family this morning, and they said they didn't get a chance to properly mourn because of all of the outpouring of support that they received. And you know, we'll call it a procession, but it was more of a parade as they went through town, and it was quite moving. So it just made me proud to be a Griffinite, and I talk about Griffin all the time, about why I love this community so much, and it's moments like yesterday that we all pulled together, and it was just, it made me very proud. So rest in peace, Mr. Jordan, and thank you all for your participation in yesterday.
You know, that's almost exactly what I was going to say. I was so proud of Griffin the way we honored Officer Jordan and the family. A terrible loss, tragic murder, needless, but the city and all the employees and our citizens stepped up way, way above and beyond, so I was very proud. Shifting gears, I thought last night's presentation went well. It's sort of the same information again, but our partners, the county, started this road with us. We've spent $600,000, and to abandon that as taxpayers' money for whatever reason just strikes me as strange. I'll leave it at that. So I hope they come back into a full partnership and we move on, bring some jobs and industrial, commercial development to this city. I strongly believe a new airport, from what I hear from all the economic development folks, is a very powerful tool for your economy. So maybe they'll come back in a full partnership and we'll put that $600,000 to good use moving forward.
Saturday was a great day for downtown Griffin. Not only was the June Jam event, the Exchange Club had a cornhole tournament, so we had over 3,500 people or more throughout the weekend. If it wasn't for city staff support, from solid waste to the police to fire department, everybody, the city made it happen, and we had a lot of praise from folks from the community and the involvement. Also, Grady Caldwell and New Mercies Baptist Church celebrated their 6th year. They praised the city. If it wasn't for us stepping up on faith and letting them at least the Head Start building $1, they were able to work out a negotiation with Chris Plott with the old office headquarters, and they opened up a new sanctuary, dedicated that this Sunday afternoon. And again, he was very thankful for this board's support over the years. And again, to Chief Strickland, Chief Hinton, and everybody else, our prayers have been with you and your efforts, and you make us proud in everything you do, as well as the rest of the staff. Thank you.
Right. You know, there's not an awful lot that can be added to yesterday because it was just a magnificent event. I was so proud of our leadership. I can't tell you how many policemen, law enforcement people from other areas of Georgia made an extra effort to come and hug Frank Strickland. That spoke to his respect and love in this state and his job as a law enforcement leader, and it just really thrilled me. And I don't know if y'all saw that Armand Chapeau was there, and I think he slipped out early, but he was there, and he was a former police chief. And in the tenure, I would think that Frank is the one who hired Mr. Jordan. And so I know that the desire would be to always have someone with so much enthusiasm and highly motivated, as his children said. The family was a delight. It was just a unique event, and I was just, again, I'm not a born Griffinite, but I've lived here long enough and invested enough in the community that I consider myself a Griffinite, except for football, and I still call South Carolina home. But, you know, we have wonderful employees here, and everybody really, they stepped up and showed a family love for all of us. And Tommy, the fire department, and the flag, it was just wonderful. And then when Public Works, our Griffin Power had come in with flag, that was okay too, you know. So it was a magnificent thing. The other thing that I got from last night is this. We do not have a decent PA system for an event like we had last night. More and more people would say, we can't hear y'all in the back. The people who sat here at the tables and spoke, nobody in the back heard them. We do not have a sufficient PA system in here so that these microphones reach all the way to the back. When you and Drew talk, that's where I get most complaints. Nobody hears you. And I bet if we really pressed the press, they would say the same thing. Look at Larry over there with
What, Larry?
So we need to, I know we're not here that frequently, but we need to address those issues when we do have a public meeting in here. So
drop down microphones.
You need something. And
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I've always been disappointed being somewhat deaf. And also, that screen over there is extraordinarily difficult for a lot of people to see wherever we are in this room with our posts, we really need to strongly consider another screen in here, so when you have those kinds of presentations, people have two chances to see it and hear it. So we need to step up our audio-visual game here. It's kind of weak.
Right, and you know, and I'm sure it can be done, because we've got extraordinary people. It can be done. That's all I got to say. I will miss you all next week in Savannah. Y'all know I'll be herding in on great-grandchildren on a cruise, so just pray for me.
Commissioner Flowers.
Basically the same sentiments as everyone else. The best way that I can liken my feelings about how the city responded this week is went to the inauguration and was one of the very few times where I felt just extremely overwhelmed with pride to be an American. This is comparable to that despite all of the things that people say about Griffin and personal feelings and whatever, I'm just extremely proud to say that I live in Griffin and to be a part not only of the organization as far as the city as a business, but just the community. So kudos to all city departments and employees, but just to the citizens in general. I think it's there is very little that brings people together of that magnitude, and for whatever reason people responded to it. I'm just proud that there is still something that makes people drop whatever issues they have and come together. So that's it. Just really, really proud of everybody, citizens and employees.
I too, over the past 10, 12 days, I've really been proud to be a member of the city of Griffin. Even though this was a very tragic event, because of the way the city and the citizens have responded, it's not defined who we were. That particular event has not defined who we are as a city. And because of the way of the city and the police department and the citizens have responded to it, it was really a celebration of Kevin's life, rather than just for us mourning, really the tragedy of what had happened. And I'm just glad that it happened that way. It was really a celebration, and I'm really proud of everything that has transpired over the last days.
Thanks. Well, I think we pretty much all have the same sentiment. I think it affected us the same way. When you rode in those cars, I started tearing up just thinking about how everybody came out together. But bottom line is that family was an inspiration. The way they handled themselves. I mean, I was inspired by those children and those brothers and sisters that got out there and talked, and the community was an inspiration. So it definitely turned something, a tragic event, to something honorable for the city. So.
If I could add one thing, I think his brother, and I meant to mention that, his brother's sentiment was probably the most moving moment for me, was when he said he was there, watched what happened to his brother, the names that they were calling him using racial slurs, and he wanted to make sure that everybody understood that was not the message he took away from the citizens of Griffin, that this was just one person, and that he did not feel that in Griffin that there was a divide in our community, because the entire community showed up and showed support for Kevin's family and his honor. So I just want to make sure we get that out there, that this was just an isolated incident, something that happened due to, we'll say, alcohol, drugs, or the misuse of it, and it's not the sentiment of the people, and it's not indicative of our community here, Griffin and Spalding County, that we're so proud of.
Rodney, are they staying in Griffin?
His family, he got family in Jenkinsburg, and the rest of them are in Chicago. And his wife, thinks she's in Decatur, Atlanta area.
So there's no other interaction that we can have with them?
Well, he's buried here. I mean, that's about as much as I know.
All right, good comments. If there's no other...
Make a motion to adjourn, sir.
Have a motion?
Second.
All right.